I think when you talk about a rivalry game, no, it doesn't matter at all. Especially going to their great environment, their fans are going to bring it. I'd be disappointed if they didn't. But when you play a rivalry game, you can just throw the records out of the book because it really is a season of its own.
Could you ever have imagined during your time here that you would be a 15 or 17 point favorite in the rivalry game?
Maybe yes, just because that's the kind of player I am, confident in our abilities. But not in the way that they've been playing. I wouldn't have seen this. They've had a great 5-year run, but they'll get it back together and make this a good rivalry like it always is.
How is this year compared to last year at this time when you guys had to answer questions of you guys can't beat South Carolina?
We're 11-0 on the national stage, and they are having a difficult season right now. So, but like I said, this is a great rivalry game. Records really don't matter.
Describe the way Coach Sweeney approaches this rivalry.
He is a strong Clemson man. And any great Clemson man is going to hate playing Carolina or hate Carolina. So I really think that he just fuels his own fire. And the last game he played in college football as a senior day was against Carolina. So it's really funny how the ties relate him to that program. I just think that he's going to get us excited and ready to play.
What do you think it meant to him to win last year and get that monkey off his back?
I think that was just a big thing. That was one of our goals that we just hadn't met in so many years. So to finally accomplish that last year was great for us as a program. And we have a chance to hit all of them this year, and that's what we're excited to do.
He said fans had kind of said, I don't care what game you win as long as you beat South Carolina. Can you kind of sense the relief last year when you guys did from them?
I think so. Last year, the only question that we got running around campus or walking anywhere was, are we going to beat Carolina? Are we going to beat Carolina? We got Florida State this week. Let's focus on that. People were still worried about that game. I think that's kind of changed this year. I was talking with Deshaun and some of the other guys, and they said they hadn't gotten that at all until this week. So I think that our fan base was definitely relieved in us as a program last year.
I know you guys are obviously focused on yourselves, but do you take any level of satisfaction that your big in-state rival has been off this year, for lack of a better term?
No, I'm upset. It takes away from our strength of schedule. I would rather them be number 2 in the nation and this be an 8 o'clock game on ABC. But so no, I don't have any satisfaction from them losing other than to us.
You're a guy who likes to engage in some trash talk during the game. Is that do you see a little bit more of that in this game, or is it pretty much any?
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously being an in-state rivalry, there's going to be a lot of chirping going on the field. Hopefully penalty-wise it won't get too extreme, but I really look forward to that part of the game.
What's it like going down there and playing in the environment, and where would you put it kind of up against some other ones?
These last couple of years, man, it's been just very loud. They bring it every single Saturday when we come. I think that us being at a noon game, I hope that doesn't take away from the environment. I don't think it will. Obviously, with such big game for them and us, so we hope their fans bring it. When they're at their loudest, they're probably right up there next to us. When you talk about home field advantage, their fans really bring it.
What are your thoughts when you walk into one of the rooms and you see a block constantly taken? Is that necessary? I mean,
I think it was last year. Just to stick it out there like, guys, we need to do something about this. Obviously, losing 5 in a row. It's cool to have. Michigan, Ohio State have it. I just think that it's something that you need for a rivalry, so I think it's a cool addition to our team.
It's kind of weird, though, because Sweeney's been such a stickler about tunnel vision this week. And you have this clock from day one that's talking about a game that's, 3 months
it's just
away.
in the back of your mind. We don't pay too much attention to it, but just when you're walking in and out, it's there. So I think that that's a little bit of contradictory, but, for the most part, we're really focused on week to week.
You didn't grow up here, so people can tell you about the rivalry.
Yeah.
They can say, oh, it's intense, but what was your aha moment when you were like, oh, now
When I
get it?
went there and was thrown things at, really when we walked into that stadium and, I see lighters or batteries or, just cans and stuff being thrown at, players, I was just like, wow, this is something else. And then the next year that we went there, I guess my sophomore year, and just the same thing. So it's just a constant reminder of this is a real deal type thing, and you better be ready.
Do their fans get creative in what they say to you behind the bench, like
Oh
everywhere
yeah,
else?
not as funny, more derogatory and make you want to go cry, but they're not as creative as some of the other places.
This is the week that's kind of disjointed with the way classes end and then Thanksgiving and everything. Is this a good or bad thing when you have a game like this, that the schedule changes a little bit?
I think our coaches do a great job of trying to keep it as normal as they can. Obviously, getting a little bit of time for Thanksgiving has been, a great thing. You want to have time with your family. But maybe in years past, we had guys who maybe enjoyed it a little too much, if you can. Maybe ate a little bit too much and came back a little bit heavier than they should have been. So I think that we've handled it well, but it always can be handled better.
Have you had stuff chucked at you at other stadiums too, or has that just been
Georgia was the only place.
Georgia's the only other place?
So those two fan bases, we love them to death.
Is there any way you can prepare some of the younger guys for this game that might just kind of look at a 3-8 record, especially the out-of-state guys?
I think that that's something that this team has really demonstrated maturity-wise. I don't think we really care what anyone's record is. They're just another team in our way. It doesn't matter if it's South Carolina, Wake Forest, Wofford, whatever their schedule is or whatever their record is. We know that that's irrelevant when we're playing them because they're going to play to an all-time high. They're going to play at their best, and we look forward to that challenge.
DJ Reader mentioned being growing up around the Duke North Carolina basketball rivalry, and I think Deshaun mentioned Florida Georgia. What was kind of your rivalry as a fan, and how does that maybe compare being a fan to another rivalry as opposed to being a part of one?
Well, mine was Tennessee Florida, but I think that Tennessee's beaten Florida in 11 years now, so it's not much of a rivalry anymore. But yeah, growing up, that was my whole thing. And then my grandmother went to Alabama, so of course the Iron Bowl was another huge one in my life.
Ben Boulware talked yesterday about the SEC bias in the media and the fact that you've been number one now for 4 weeks. You flip on the TV and you still see less of Clemson than you see of some other teams. Does that get on your nerves too? And do you take some pride in, beyond the fact of being South Carolina for the in-state rivalry, ACC beating SEC? You root for the ACC in these games like Florida State, Georgia Tech.
You always want your conference to do well. Obviously, that makes us all look better. Just paint it. I don't try and look at it too much. I know that it's there. Obviously, on social media, you see all the time about the SEC bias, and when an SEC team loses, the whole conference is terrible. So I think that perception is there, but I don't try and pay it too much attention.
Does it matter to you that there's a game next week that you start to focus on this one? Do you think anybody on this team thinks about that at all?
No. I think this is such a big rivalry that they have our full attention. But we'll be ready to move on when Monday comes. We're ready to go to the next game.
Do you have a problem with there being such a big rivalry game at the end of the year when you know stuff?
No. I like it. I think that rivalry week is an amazing thing. I love to sit down and be able to watch all the different games. Happy that it's at 12 o'clock so I can watch other ones. I think it's great for college football, and it has such implications to the postseason. Usually, we've both been top 15 at least in the past couple of years, so it's had huge thanks to where we go in bowls. Fortunately enough this year, I think that it'll take care of itself.
Would you care to indulge just by guaranteeing a win Saturday?
No, I will not. All right. I guarantee you we'll do our best, though. How about that?
What are your Thanksgiving plans?
My parents are actually coming up here, so this is the first time we'll have it together in about 4 years. So it'll be fun. Good to see them again.
Tell us what you're looking forward to eating most besides turkey, of course.
My mom makes a pretty good sweet potato casserole, so I'll be looking forward to that.